All right, let's play detective. Today, we're cracking a case that comes straight from your car's computer. It's a cryptic message, a code that can be a real head-scratcher. Ford error P0109. So, what is it, and more importantly, how do we solve it? Let's get this investigation started. You know that feeling. We've all been there. You're just driving along, everything's fine, and then, bam, that little check engine light pops on. Your heart kind of sinks, right? You start wondering, oh no, is this bad? Is this going to cost a fortune? But hang on. What if we looked at it differently? What if that light isn't a problem, but a puzzle? It's the first clue your car is giving you, pointing us exactly where we need to look. So think of that check engine light as our crime scene. It's the very beginning of the whole investigation. And it's not just some generic warning. It's actually the first piece of solid evidence in a pretty complex case. And like any good detective, our first job is to look for clues. And in the world of cars, our clue is a specific code, a little digital breadcrumb left behind for us to find. Yeah, every single time that light comes on, your car's brain, the computer, it logs something called a diagnostic trouble code, or a DTC for short. It's basically the case file for whatever's going wrong. Now, it won't spell out the answer for you, but it tells a technician exactly which system, which part of the engine needs a closer look. This little code, it's the key to everything. And the clue we've just found in our investigation is P0109. Now, I know it just looks like a random string of letters and numbers, but to someone who knows the language, it's a very, very specific message. So what's the big secret? It's time to decode this then. And here it is, the secret message, decoded. P0109 points directly to a problem with the manifold absolute pressure sensor, or MAP sensor. But you know what the most important word here is? Intermittent. That means this isn't a total failure. It's a signal that's cutting in and out, kind of like a bad cell phone connection. And that makes our culprit really tricky to pin down, and our investigation a whole lot more interesting. So who is this MAP sensor, our star witness in this whole case? Well, think of it like an informant sitting deep inside your engine. Its only job is to report back to the main computer about the air pressure in the intake manifold. This info is absolutely vital for the computer to make the right calls on how much fuel to use and when. When the informant gives good intel, your car runs great. But when that intel is spotty or just plain wrong, well, that's when things get messy. Okay, so we've identified our victim, that flickering MAP sensor signal. Now it's time for that classic detective move. We're going to line up the usual suspects. See, a good technician doesn't just guess. They have a go-to list of the most likely causes behind a P0109 code. And they go through them one by one. And here they are, our 5 most wanted. You'll notice something interesting right away. 3 of them are basically electrical ghosts. An open circuit, a short to voltage, a short to ground. Then we've got 2 physical suspects. The MAP sensor itself is just damaged, or maybe a connection is just plain wrong. This checklist is the technician's playbook. It's the roadmap for the whole investigation. All right, time to pull on the forensic gloves and really examine the evidence. We're going to start with those electrical suspects, the ones that love to hide in the wiring. A bad signal usually means there's a problem with the road it's traveling on. So let's take a closer look at how these electrical gremlins can totally mess up our MAP sensor's signal. This here is like the rap sheet for our electrical culprits. On the left, an open circuit is basically like a bridge is out. The signal just stops, it can't get where it needs to go. In the middle, a short to voltage is like a power surge. Another wire's electricity is bleeding into our signal, making the computer see a reading that's way too high. And on the right, a short to ground is like a leak. A frayed wire touches the car's metal frame and the signal just drains away, giving a really low reading or no reading at all. Now, if we check all the wiring and come up empty, we turn to our physical suspects. A technician will get right in there looking for things like little cracks in the sensor itself, or maybe some corrosion on the pins, physical evidence that you can't really hide. And honestly, sometimes the answer is just staring you in the face, a loose plug. It's the classic is the lamp plugged in problem of car repair. So how do we catch the right culprit and finally close this case? Simple. You follow a strict procedure. A good mechanic is a methodical investigator. First, they do a visual sweep of the whole area, the crime scene. Then they bring out the special tools, like a multimeter, to actually test the electrical pathways. They double-check every single connection. And only after they have ruled out everything else do they even consider replacing the MAP sensor. It's the classic process of elimination. And by following that evidence, by systematically crossing suspects off the list, we finally arrive at our verdict. That methodical approach, that's the real difference between just guessing and actually knowing. It's what makes sure the right problem gets fixed, and it gets fixed for good. And really, this is what it all boils down to. The most important first step is just understanding the clue. Recognizing what P0109 means isn't just about knowing there's a problem. It's about knowing the entire lineup of suspects it points to. That, right there, is the only way to make sure the case is truly closed.
So, the case of the P0109 is officially closed. We've seen how a scary-looking error code is really just the first clue in a totally solvable mystery. It's a trail of breadcrumbs that, if you follow it, leads you right from that warning light to the actual culprit. So, the next time that light pops up on your dash, are you going to see a problem? Or are you going to see a puzzle? An investigation just waiting to begin?